Hey everybody, Katie Sutton here, intuitive channel and founder of Zen Within Academy and the New Earth Now School with your Zen Withins'day update. So here we are in July, and we're about 12 days into July, so we're about halfway through the month, and we are currently working with, I think, our biggest theme, energetic theme of the month, which is about claiming your full expression. And when this theme came in, it was end of last month, I started seeing this show up in session and knew that we would be working on this in July. It was all about how do we bring our multidimensional self, our higher self, more of our expression into this body, into this life that we're currently living, into this present moment. And as I've been unpacking this myself and with other people, the main blockers that I'm finding to that are rejection and judgment. And I want to talk about the link between rejection and judgment for just a moment, because this has been a major aha for me. And as I've shared it with people that have shown up for session, it's been a big aha for them as well. When we think about the wound of rejection, and as I've been processing my own wound of rejection, it goes all the way back to my birth and the umbilical cord being wrapped around my neck when I was born, and hearing this story in my head as a baby that they don't want me here. But we have lots of different ways that rejection wounds can get activated and can show up. And for a lot of us, it does go back to our childhood. But when we're operating in a rejection wound, there is this assumption that we are not wanted. There is this lens that we are using to view the world and activate into our relationships and our connections with other people that says, I am not wanted, I am in rejection. And so when we behave in those relationships, we're not behaving in our full expression. Maybe we're origamiing ourselves or people pleasing to make sure that we don't get rejected, that we don't get abandoned. And when we operate in that way, obviously we're not in our full authentic expression. And then the ironic thing is that we can't actually be in connection with people wholly and actually be safe in that connection where we won't get rejected if we're not in our authentic expression. So it's a very snake eating its tail kind of energy when we're working with this rejection wound. But the piece that I have uncovered that I don't know why it surprises me, I think it's just maybe a big download, is that when we are in a rejection wound, the way that we often cope with that is through judgment. And that judgment shows up in one of two ways. Either we are judging the people outside of us and separating ourselves from them through judgment, creating a boundary with judgment so that they can't reject us. Because if I judge them first and I reject them first, then I win. I can't be rejected. Or, and this is the bigger, deeper piece of it that I see that is incredibly harmful for people because they're much less aware of it, this rejection wound causes us to judge ourselves and shame ourselves and limit our expression. So we may want to show up in a certain way. We may want to express in a certain way. We may want to sing out loud in a group of people, but because this rejection wound is so big, it has created so much self-shame and self-judgment in our field, we limit that expression, we dim that light. And so either way, whether we're judging someone else or we're judging ourselves, we're creating separation. And so rejection is this energy that activates more separation as we activate more judgment to try to heal the rejection. And so the very thing that we're afraid of, which is being separate, which is not being connected, which is not receiving love, is what we're creating when we operate in this rejection and this judgment wound. And so all of these coping mechanisms that we have, all these strategies that we have in our subconscious body process and mind process that says, I'm going to protect myself, we just build wall after wall, and eventually people can't get through that wall. And I see it all the time when people show up here and they have all these walls built, and this primarily lives around their heart, this rejection wound. They have all these walls built around their heart, and nobody can get through them. Even people that have the best intentions can't get through them. And then instead of calling in people that really want to be with them and want to love them, they call in people who are going to continue to perpetuate that rejection wound, because those people are mirrors of this wound until this person is ready to heal it. And so oftentimes that leads to this major breakdown for the person in question, right? Because they're so fed up that they constantly keep getting betrayed, they constantly keep getting rejected, but they haven't taken the time to heal that original wound of rejection inside of them. And so everything in their experience just keeps perpetuating it. And so we have to break the cycle. And some of the ways that I've found to break this cycle of rejection and judgment is to, first of all, become aware of it, right? Become aware of this wound. And once we become aware of it, we then have to operate in curiosity. Because one of the things that has happened for me is that as I've realized that this rejection wound is so prevalent in my being, and it goes all the way back to my birth, is I had this realization of, oh my gosh, every relationship that I've ever been in, including the one with my parents, I haven't felt safe because I've felt like I'm going to get rejected. And so have I ever been bringing my full expression to anything? Have I ever been creating a space for them to truly connect with me? And that's a little bit of a mind bender, if you will, because then you start to question, wow, am I showing up in my authentic expression at all? And don't go too deep down that rabbit hole, my friends, because it's not a pleasant one. But what I will say is when you start to notice that there's this rejection wound that's present, and you start to realize that you're using judgment to cope with the rejection wound, is to bring in the frequency of curiosity. And so it sounds like statements like, I'm really curious if I'm no longer operating from the perspective or the assumption that I'm going to be rejected, how I might show up in this relationship, how I might set boundaries, how I might ask for what I need, how I might receive love in a new way. And so it's actually that frequency of curiosity that's going to allow you to be open to allow this rejection and this judgment energy to just naturally unwind from your field. Because we're pretty amazing beings, and once we have a full awareness of something, we have that aha moment, we can say, wow, I don't really want to operate in that paradigm anymore. And the universe and everybody around us starts to shift instantly the moment we say, I don't need that wound triggered anymore. So when we're in that state of curiosity and we're just wondering, like, how has this been affecting me all these years, and what would it feel like if it's not? We're creating a state of openness so that we can have greater degrees of connection separate from this rejection wound. So this is a big thing, right? And as I look out into the world, I see how this wound is perpetuating the judgment cycles, which are perpetuating the separation and the polarity that we have. And it's really important that we heal this, I think, because we have to learn how to co-create with one another. We have to learn how to coexist with one another if we're going to build our new earth, right? And so this is really key that we work on this wound if it's present for us. So if that is something that resonates with you and you're like, hey, I'm seeing this show up in my life, or I feel like this might exist for me, we're doing a healing circle on claiming your full expression tonight. We're going to be deprogramming and clearing these rejection wounds all the way back in our timeline. And then we're going to be activating and connecting into our I am presence, our God self, our creator being self, and drawing more of that light down into our body and making more space for that after we clear this rejection and judgment energy out. And I'll have a lot more to share tonight about these energies and more ahas and more things to talk about as well, just to help your mental body anchor into this experience. So if you want to join us for Healing Circle, even if you can't join live, you can catch the recording. I'll put that link below this video. I hope you guys have an amazing July. I'll be gone next week. I'm on vacation. And the week after, I'll be back with another Zen Withins'day update. Okay? Take good care of yourselves. Love you all. Bye.